Hey, are we good?
Um, yes, we are. Well, yes, now we are.
Okay. Welcome everyone to our regular meeting. I'm going to switch that to gallery so I can see all your smiling faces.
Or
It,
avatars.
recognition of guests. I'm looking through my roster. I think our only guest, who is FSUDA organizing pack? You would perhaps switch to your name. Um,
So it's the person in for FSUTA organizing slash PAC. Can you please put your name on this on your attendance?
I think our only guest is, unless he's, no, we have no guests.
I don't think we have any guests.
Everyone is a member or an alternate, it appears. So if I can ask our parliamentarian Paula to give the land acknowledgement this evening.
Okay, we pause to acknowledge that Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present.
All right. Thank you for that. And we have a quorum.
Do you want the swearing in?
So if we'll bring up the oath. Since our last meeting, or relatively recently, I know we had, let me find it on my list here. And Jack Flynn has appointed Teresa Lavelle as his alternate. Don't believe she's here. And Councilmember Williams has appointed Tanya Lediju. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's her alternate.
Dr. Tanya Lediju.
Lediju. Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
Who was Tanya? Who are you for? Who?
Kate Patrice Williams.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll be sending out an updated roster after the meeting. I think those are the only two recent ones. So everyone who was either newly appointed since our last meeting or was not present at our last meeting, would you take yourself off mute so that we can swear you in? And I know there's a number of you.
Perhaps they could use the raise hand feature as well to identify them.
That would be useful as well. So I will take Tom's advice. Please raise your hand. If you were not sworn in last month, or if you now need to be sworn in. So I have Lillian Cuevas, Jeanette Wiley, Alicia, and okay. And so please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jeanette Wiley,
Alicia Mijares,
I, Julian
do
Cuevas,
do solemnly
Do
swear
solemnly
or affirm
swear
solemnly swear or
or
affirm
Do
affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support
that I
and
will
defend
support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the
the
Constitution of the United
Constitution of the
States
United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the
and the
Constitution of the State of
Constitution of the State of
California
California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all
against all
enemies, foreign
enemies,
and
foreign
domestic,
and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear
I will
true
bear
faith and
True
allegiance
faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the
to the
United States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the
and the
Constitution of the
Constitution
State
of
of
the State of
California,
California.
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this
I take
obligation
this
freely
obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any
without
mental
any mental
reservation or purpose
or
of
purpose
evasion,
of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will
and
well
that
and
I will well
faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter
discharge the duties
discharge
upon
the
which I am
duties
about
upon
to
which I
enter,
am to enter.
and during such time as I hold the office of Central Committee member.
and during such times as I
And
hold the
during such
office
time
of
as I hold the
Central
office of
Committee
Central
member.
Committee member.
All right, thank you all. You're sworn in. And
Could you
If
tell
you-
me again just who was sworn in?
I have that it was Julian Cuevas, Jeanette Wiley, I think Alicia Maharas had her hand up. And I'm
There-
Tanya.
Jerry
have been sworn in.
Castanon.
Okay, and Jerry. So those should all be sworn in at this point.
And Amber?
I thought Amber was here last month, but if she wasn't, hopefully she took the oath.
No, I wasn't there last month.
All right. So those individuals,
Yep,
Uh,
you did catch Tanya Letiger too, right?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So you're all official now, and as my former boss liked to put it, you've been sworn in, now you can be sworn out. So the next item I have is the approval of the minutes for April 24th, 2024. I know you should have all have received those. Do we have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved. This is Paula.
Okay, is there
Second,
a-
this is Jeanette,
who was the second?
Jeanette Wiley.
Okay. Unless there's any discussion, Tom, if you can launch that poll.
Just a moment. My mouse is mousing around with me. There you go.
Okay, Yvonne, I see your hand up. Is there a question? You're muted.
No, I was raising my hand that I forgot that he sends out just ignore it. I'm gonna take it down.
Okay,
Thank you, though.
no worries.
Okay, it's been a minute. So we're gonna end the poll. The minutes have been approved.
Excellent. Moving on to the agenda for tonight's meeting. It is being displayed for you. Does anyone have any additions, corrections, or deletions that they wish to make? I'm not seeing any hands up, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Have a motion.
I'll second. This is
We have a
Paula.
second.
I'll second Tom's motion.
All right. All those in favor? Please answer the poll.
Five seconds. Okay. The agenda passes with 26 votes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Next item we have on the agenda is public comment. This is for guests to the meeting. Again, I'm not seeing any guests in the participant list, but nevertheless, all comments are limited to 2 minutes. Additional time may not be granted. Comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes. So I'm going to open that up at 7:15. And I'm not seeing any hands. We're closing public comment at 7:15. Moving on to the treasurer's report. If you could pull that up for me. Our treasurer is not with us. She is celebrating her anniversary this week. So I imagine that constitutes an excused absence. So briefly, the beginning balance for the federal account was $3,626.15. We received allocation transfer from the state account of $252.36. The debits included payments to River City Business Services, our monthly storage fee, the annual fee for the Google workspace, and the post office box fee for total debits of $1,496.38, leaving us with an ending balance of $2,382.13. In our state account, the beginning balance was $2,535.99. We received $1,015 in dues as our contributions. Debits included ActBlue fees and the transfer to the federal account for total debits of $292.60, leaving an ending state balance of $3,258.39. Combined balance is $5,640.52. I want to thank everyone who did pay their dues and remind those who didn't to pay your dues. And Councilmember Williams, I see your hand is up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I know the treasurer isn't in, and I don't know if we could, just kind of post these questions for her to answer next time. So there was a few things that came to mind when I looked at the budget. One was, I noted the storage, and we seem to be virtual, so I didn't know what was in storage because it seems little, but when you times that by 12 and then times that by a number of years, depending on what's in storage, we done paid for it a few times. So I was just wondering what is in storage.
Our storage contains furniture that is owned, this committee owns for our campaign headquarters when those are established. It also includes a variety of durable and perishable supplies for events such as plates, tablecloths, cutlery, and other such goods. Off the top of my head, I do not recall the comprehensive list, but it is essentially our central storage location for both furniture and goods.
Okay. And if an inventory lives somewhere, I think that's fair to make that public. And then my other question,
Yeah, there is an inventory list. I do not have my hands on it at the moment, but we will get
yeah.
that link and get that sent out to the members.
Yeah, understood. And then the other question was about the business services. Is that a virtual box for us?
River City Business Services is our bookkeeper to ensure that we remain in compliance with state and federal campaign reporting requirements.
Great. Yeah, that's a great idea. And then my final question is there a annual budget for this year?
That is will be discussed at the planning session coming up to prepare our budget and discuss it in greater detail.
Thank you, Chair.
Because for obvious reasons, we did not want to move forward on a budget until the new members were seated.
Understood.
Okay, are there other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions popping up. So moving on to other reports. I have two items that I want to bring up. One, the state party this cycle, as it's did this last cycle, is working with a group to engage in a project called Contest Every Race. They have the state parties contracted out to contact active Democrats to ask them to run for down ballot seats, typically in races that are either open seats or currently held by Republicans. We were asked to participate. We sent in a list of races. We received over 400 potential contacts from the state party, and that we are following up with them. Hopefully we'll get some good recruits for candidates either this cycle or next cycle. I am holding a virtual meeting with prospective candidates on June 5th to kind of give them an introduction, and I'll be sending out more details to interested parties if they wish to attend. But again, of that list, the vast majority, quite honestly, are names that are not familiar to me. I did spot a few of our Central Committee members and other activists that I recognize, but we have the potential of getting a lot of good new faces running for office. So we may be able to take on some of those challenging races where historically we found it difficult to recruit a Democrat. The other item I want to discuss at this time is, as you know, we submitted our bylaws for review by the State Party Rules Committee in order so that we can use that our endorsement qualifies as the state party's endorsement as well. Unfortunately, our committee was one of several committees that the Rules Committee did not approve at this time. We will discuss more with the bylaws committee. The issues that they reported were that we did not define our process for electing members to the state convention. We did not adequately define in their mind the notice of our endorsement process. We did not say how to remove a state convention delegate. We did not mention what counts as a member in good standing, and we did not mention that our central committee indicates we cannot endorse candidates for county committees. Now, for those of you who participated in our bylaws review and amendment process, you will recognize that there are several inaccuracies in the Rules Committee's findings. Nevertheless, we will be endeavoring to resolve these to their satisfaction and resubmitting our bylaws. But Paula will be talking more about that later on. But I did want to bring that to the membership's attention. The rest of the goings on at the executive board meeting we'll cover under that report later on. So with that, I'm going to jump to our Northern Vice Chair. Do you have anything to report this evening? You're muted.
I have nothing under this report, but I just want to say thank you for your vote of confidence and voting me back into office. But I will make a report under fundraiser. Thank you.
All right, Southern Vice Chair, anything to report?
I will echo Vernil's appreciation for the confidence and look forward to serving in this capacity and working with Vernil on fundraising. We already have some good ideas and looking forward to making some money so we can get good trouble done.
Excellent. Secretary, anything to report at this time?
Thank you also for electing me, and please bear with me as I may make some mistakes along the way, but I'll try to correct them as soon as possible. Thanks.
Okay. Information Resource Officer. Anything to report?
Not at this time. I did send, actually I do as we sent out the survey for people to fill out. We have amended the survey to give you a haven't decided option in the committee area. So please go ahead and complete the survey that you got via email. It would have come from myself, info officer at SolanoDemocrats.com. So please complete that.
Okay. Parliamentarian, do you have anything to report other than the copious bylaws committee report that's coming up?
No, do you want me to do that now or wait?
Let's hold off and do it under the committee report.
Okay.
All right. Elected officials. We have report for Congressman Garamendi was sent out to everyone. We have, I believe I saw earlier this month, the report from Congressman Thompson.
Yep.
Unless I am delusional. Senator Dodd, do we have a report? Because I don't recall seeing one in writing. Okay. Is there a report from Assemblymember Wilson?
The trick is to get off of mute. Good evening, everyone. This is Lynette Henley from the Assemblywoman's office. And there's no real report that I can give you tonight, but I will forward her current newsletter so that it can be distributed to the members. That's it. Any questions?
All right. All right. Thank you. Supervisors, Checking. Nope.
Monica said she may be late because she was coming back from the Vallejo Unified.
Well, she appears to be in the room.
Oh, that's oh, there.
So,
Okay, sorry. Monica.
Supervisor Brown, do you have a report?
I can't talk, no.
Okay. I guess we'll let that go. And I know we received the written report from Supervisor Williams. Did you have anything that needed to be added at this time?
No, I do not. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being able to join us this evening. Moving on to our clubs, we did receive the written report from the Community Democratic Club. Oh, sorry. Councilmember Williams, your hand's up.
Yeah, and this is more of a procedural question, just being new. I don't know where these questions go. But or if it goes in more of a planning meeting, but I guess I'm not very clear about what is the Democratic notice and who is on the Democratic notice list for these meetings. Because I see in the early part, we say, hey, is there any, new folks? But if the new folks only know to go to Facebook, and I can see that we're on Facebook Live, I just don't I don't know what a general Democratic notice to Democrats in this area looks like, or if all these questions land in an outreach committee. I just don't know.
I would say that there probably some details of that are more appropriate for either the outreach committee or our information officer. I know that we do our posting on social media for many of our items, as well as our webpage. And of course, these committee announcements go to all members of the Central Committee, which include obviously each club representative. So I would say, without diving into the technical details, I think beyond that, it would be people needing to go to our website and connect on the appropriate links. There's also general notices available through the state party as well.
Got it. And then my next question, I don't know where this lands, is surrounding and I didn't know if this was under the secretary, but is there a way to eliminate us getting so many separate emails about these meetings and the reports? Could there be a more of a public Google Drive that's organized by meeting month, and everything kind of lands there? But again, that could be more of a programmatic type of internal planning meeting. I just don't know.
It is something to be discussed, certainly. I will just say, historically speaking, as many people have asked to have each report separately as have asked to have it all together. So it's probably something we should circle back to and discuss at a future time. Lynette, I see your hands up.
Thank you, Chair. And additionally to what Don has shared, the clubs are supposed to announce all of our meetings in addition to the posting. And if I were a Democrat that wanted to get involved with the Democratic Party, I go to the website, because I didn't know when LAPD, I always do that, LA Central Committee was meeting. And so I went to their website. I didn't even call anybody, and it was easily posted and easily accessible. And so I think we're doing a lot more outreach than we have, but I really think we need to depend a lot on our clubs, because they're the ones have people interested in getting information from not only their local central committee, but also from the state party, and they're the conduits for that. And so if you are thinking of a wider spread than of people that need to be noticed, I think, the organizing committee is definitely looking for support in that manner there. And then all the emails, yeah, I don't like them, but I get just as many from the state party because I'm on the executive board. And so I just guess it's part of the nature of the beast. And I just kind of file them to myself, but maybe other people like it differently. Thanks, Don.
No problem. I will also state actually a comment that I heard at the e-board just this weekend discussing this with members from other committees that in many ways it's also better to send interested volunteers, interested activists to our clubs because many times they're discussing the fun stuff. You know, this is, as you can see from the agenda, this is largely a business meeting. And it's about on a par with a city council meeting or school board meeting, as you well know. You know, a chunk of the agenda for any council or school board meeting is business and is only exciting to one or two people. There may be a few items of general interest, but you know, approving monthly reports and you know, fund transfers and all that is not generally exciting to the average Democrat. So certainly hope that they will go to our clubs and get some of the more exciting content, although they're always welcome to attend here as well.
And Don, if I might say, we do have a calendar that is on our website, so anyone can get that information from there. It's on the front page.
Okay, and with that diversion, let me see. Jewish Democratic Club. I don't believe I saw a written report. Do you have an oral report?
I do. As a matter of fact, we actually had our meeting at Z Alfredo's, and it was in celebration of the event that we had put on. It was a dinner that was a long time in coming, and we didn't discuss much in the way of business, but we did convene. We're going to go ahead and get into endorsements here pretty soon, I think, for our next meeting. I haven't written up the agenda yet, but yeah, thanks for letting us be a part of this, and always appreciate it. Thanks, Don.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. Northern Solano Club submitted a report in writing. Progressive Democrats, did you submit a report per se? I know you did not have a meeting, you had your fundraiser. But was there a written report submitted?
I just emailed a report regarding the fundraiser and our next meeting, which will be on June 11th, and we will be having Will McGarvey from Solano Pride speaking.
Oh, awesome. Sounds good. Okay, Rio Vista Democratic Club, I saw your report. Sankofa Democratic Club, I don't recall seeing a report. Do you have an oral report?
We have, well, good evening, everyone. We have no report for this at this time. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Solano Democratic Workers Alliance, I saw that you submitted something this afternoon. Is there anything that you wish to add to that? Okay, don't hear any response. Stonewall, did I see a report from you?
No, we sent in the Pride Proclamation that's going to be discussed later. But we're
Okay,
supporting various Pride events around Vallejo and Benicia, and also with the county fair.
awesome. And we saw the United Democrats submitted a report in writing. So thank you all. Appreciate those of you who get your reports in. And I know our secretary appreciates it as well. So work with her for a good schedule. If you want to ease her burden, perhaps we can bundle the reports together and at least maybe send them as one or two emails rather than trickling in over a couple of days. Lynette, your hand's up.
Yes, Don. I think we used to have a deadline for report. Well, sort of like we'd like to have it in by this Wednesday or whatever, the Monday before the meeting, so that they could go out as a group. We might want to just pick a date and make that the date. And then, did Community Dems have a report?
Yes, they sent in a report which was sent out today.
Oh, okay. I just missed it. All righty. Thank you.
All right, no problem. I know a number of them came out today. So, and as was said earlier, we're working on fine-tuning the process as our new officers take effect, and we'll certainly suggest to our clubs and other electeds to get reports in at least a few days before the meeting, and I'm sure Kathy can speak to her preferred time frame as she sees fit. So with that, moving on to standing committees, and Paula, you're up with bylaws and rules.
Okay, so it's a little frustrating that they didn't accept our bylaws, and what they did send us was not very clear, but we're gonna find a way to comply with this. So my plan is to have a meeting next Thursday, May 30th at 7 o'clock on Zoom. And I will get something out probably to the entire central committee, since I'm not sure who all is on the bylaws committee. I will get something out early next week so that when we meet on Thursday night, we can get through it pretty quickly. I mean, it looks like we should be able to comply. I mean, we should be able to come up with what they want, although, like I said, they're a little unclear. And what they sent us for an example of a bylaw that passed doesn't even have one of the things they dinged us for. So like I said, it's frustrating, but we will get through it, and we will have to then have another special meeting the same way we did with the last round of bylaw amendments. We had to have a special meeting on Saturday to get them approved so that we could bring them back at our next regular meeting at the end of June and get them passed then. So that's my plan. So if you want to be on the bylaws committee, at least pencil it in now for 7 o'clock on Zoom on May 30th. It's all kind of contingent on whether Jeff Kortzen, our regional director, can join us then, because I would really like for him to be there. Lynette, you have your hand up?
Thank you, Paula. Can the issues that they sent that we were ding dong, well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Can that get sent out? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Paula. And
Yeah.
then because like Lon said, some of that stuff is in our bylaws. And I think I don't think we have to necessarily change it, but at least reference it. So we send it back to them that it's in article blah, 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 and states X, Y, and Z. Because just a couple that he mentioned, I'm pretty sure it's already in there.
Well,
But,
we will,
yeah.
I'll certainly, sorry, Lynette, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, we'll send that out, certainly. But I am very much in your corner in terms of saying several of the items are in fact present. We referenced them on the checklist that they sent us, and apparently, well, it does not appear that they read the checklist that we sent them.
Thank you, Don. You said it much nicer than I was.
I think that is the most diplomatic way I can phrase it, because I still remain very confused as to what their issues are in some of these areas.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say reading is fundamental. So, okay, that's the school teacher in me. All right. So, Paula, I may not be able to be on for all of your meeting, but I will definitely try to be there.
Okay. And I plan to send something out early next week that covers all of the things that they raised and at least my suggestions on how we can most easily fix it to comply with what they want. That's my report. Any other questions?
All right. And leading from that, do you anticipate more than one bylaws committee meeting, Paula, before we have a special membership meeting?
No, I would think we can get through it in one meeting. And then present it to the club at the next meeting, at the special meeting, probably a Saturday morning, and then bring that the final version to, like we did the last time.
All right. Because that'll be my next question is potential dates. Tiffany, I see your hands up.
Did they give us a deadline to have these bylaws submitted for review? And what's the anticipated timeline for that?
They did not give us a specific deadline. However, the next e-board meeting and the last state party executive board meeting prior to the election is scheduled for, I believe, early July. So I am assuming that we need to get our process done absolutely no later than our June regular meeting, and possibly earlier. I am trying to get more definitive dates on the deadline.
Okay, because my thing is like when you get, that's still close, right? And the closer you get to the deadline, and then suppose it comes back, then that puts us in this weird purgatory of bylaws not being approved. So maybe, hopefully Jeff will be on the call next week, and we can get this ironed out as soon as possible, because it's a bit unnerving. I thought we did a good job, but apparently we didn't.
We did.
Yeah. I actually testified at the Rules Committee hearing and raised a number of issues, and one of the issues that they originally reported, they said, well, we're being consistent with what we told another committee in terms of they want us to spell out specifically the formula for electing delegates to the state convention, apparently referring to the state party bylaws on that clause was not sufficient for them. So it's a whole thing. Michelle, your hand's up.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful to separate out their bullet points with the ones that we already have in our bylaws, and with the reference to that, and then we could work on the ones that aren't in the bylaws that they're requesting.
We can certainly do that with the caveat that I think, as several people said, I would argue that we did achieve their objectives and have this information, except potentially for one area where they felt we weren't clear enough. But that said, we will certainly, as Paula said, we will compile this information. We will send it to you all so that you have it and you can see what we believe is currently in there, what we believe we need to expound upon, and go from there. So yeah, thank you for your suggestion.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everyone. Any other comments, questions, suggestions on this topic? If not, I'm going to take us to fundraising, and Bernil and Carrie. What do you have for us on fundraising?
Well, I'm going to defer to Carrie. We do have some tentative plans. We're going to Southern Solano this time in Benicia. So Carrie, you want to discuss what you've been thinking about?
Thank you, Vernil. We're planning a luau, and hopefully sooner than later in the summer. Southampton Swim Club is in Benicia. It's right off the freeway near Rayleigh's, across the street from Rayleigh's. And it would be a silent auction, and we would invite guest speakers, and no swimming, so we don't have to pay for the lifeguards, but it is certainly a lovely clubhouse and setting. And I am working on the details now. I am not a member. It's an old-fashioned community clubhouse that was built for the new development back in the 70s, I believe. And so I do have friends that are members, and I'm working on them to get us a really good deal to get in there and have a good time, like say like 5 to 9, and Vernil and I will be meeting on that once I have more traction on the details. That's what I've got. Thank you.
Are there any questions? We'll have more, we're shooting for August as the date when this event will occur, but we'll have more, coming up soon.
Well, I will repeat my comments at the E-Board. I would urge you to look at late July, or at any rate before the end of the filing period, perhaps the first week of August, because the rest of August is insane already. Monica, your hand's up.
Yes, I'm going to try and talk. Excuse me. So, to the two chairs, I had a conversation with Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, and if we give him plenty of time, he will come and be a guest speaker. I'm just throwing that out. He was delighted to be asked, and so just keep me informed, whatever I can do. And if we have a save the date kind of thing, I'm just throwing it out, and then I can send that to him, and then the rest of the details. So I just wanted to let you know. Anyway, just a thought. Thanks, guys.
We'll be meeting soon. We just want to get through this holiday weekend. But thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So, thank you. And we look forward to the plans as they develop, and hopefully you can all join us. Next up, the Legislation Committee. Bonnie, I know you're there. You are. If you could take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So we met, gosh, I guess it was last week, and I sent my report. I apologize for it coming just earlier today, but this is the week where all the bills are on the floor of the house of their origin, if they have made it that far. And so this was the day, this week are the times where they're voting on the bills. So everything's very fluid. And actually the PDF I sent earlier they've already had changes in some of the bills being adopted through their house of origin. So the list of bills, you received them, I guess. So we met and we agreed, the committee agreed on the bills to endorse. And again, I included that list, so you all should have access to the list, although I think Tom can also project it.
Sure.
And then they basically, the bills have to be determined by this Friday, basically, whether they're going to move on or not. So if they're presently an assembly bill, if they're voted through this week, they'll move on to the Senate after the budget period, which is in early mid-June, I believe. And then later on in June, early July, the assembly bills will move to the Senate, and then they have to be heard in the Senate, go through the same committee process, go through the same floor process. And then if there are any changes made to the bills, they would go back to the assembly. If not, they go right to basically the governor. And that will take place in late September. So I think the best way to do this, so we have determined that our endorsed bills, we will first of all encourage our own elected people to support them, number one. And number two, we will send letters of support to the authors, and we may also send letters as they go through the committee process to the committee chairs or the committee members. And so that's what we're dealing with tonight. I think that the best way, I can go through all the bills, there's quite a few. Or if there are any bills of concern, we can have people extract what bills they would like to discuss, and then we can vote as a consent calendar on the ones not extracted, and then talk about the ones that are extracted bill by bill. So are there any thoughts on those? I'm not quite sure how best to do this.
Does anyone have any bills that they wish to pull and discuss? And based on the comment I'm seeing, if you would scroll down, just to show the second page for people.
And again, all of you should have links, a PDF of the bills, as well as links to the Google document.
Okay, Michelle, your hand's up.
Yeah, so what I think would be interesting is to hear which bills actually got out of the Appropriations Committee today.
They all did. All these bills on the list got out of appropriations. I took off any bills that didn't make it, are not any longer on the list.
Okay, I heard
they're
this.
all go ahead. They've all
this.
made it out of appropriations, and at this point they've either already made it to, being referred to made it through their house of origin and are moving on, or they're still being debated as we speak. I mean, I was watching the floor, the Assembly and the Senate today, so the bills were being voted on all day, which I watched pretty much all day.
Bonnie, do you have a list of the ones that didn't get out of committee so we could see?
I'll tell you what, Michelle, in the interest of time, I can share that with you privately. I think that would probably be the best thing, because right now they're pretty mute because they didn't make it.
Well, okay, so it looks like the idle wells made it out, which is really great.
It did, yeah, because Solano County has 130 idle wells. It's a very pertinent bill to our area, and yes, I'm very happy that made it. There's a few other that there, others that have made it.
It also passed.
That's what I'm saying. It made it it's going to the Senate. That's what I mean by it made it. Not all these bills made it out of appropriations. The ones that have made it, that are going to move on to the next house, are specified in the list.
Okay, I'm a little confused. I thought that once it makes it out of appropriations, it has to go to a floor vote before it goes to
Correct. That's where we are this week.
Oh,
and all these have made it to the floor, and some of them have already passed out of the, like, say this one here, 1304, SB 1304 right here. It made it through the floor vote, and it's been ordered to the Assembly. So it's passed out of the Senate, and it will move to the Assembly.
I see. Very good.
Mm-hmm. And the other ones say, this one, SB 1253, that is still on the floor of the Senate. It has not been passed yet out of the Senate.
Would you pick one or two that you think are really important that you're concentrating on?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few that, I think they're all important in their own right. So, again, you all have the list. But there are some that I think are more important. I think that
if you can excuse me, Bonnie.
Sure.
I think just let us go back to the original plan, and if there's any bills that people wish to pull. Otherwise, we will entertain this on a consent calendar item. I know the list did go out to the full body this afternoon. But members of the committee, I believe, received a very similar list last week. So if you're on the legislation committee, you should have received a list of many of these bills already. So with that, Lynette.
And I have sent them out in different at different times in different parts of the legislative process.
Right. Lynette, your
Thanks,
hand.
Don. I just wanted to move the agenda so we could vote. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing I would say that ACA 16, I think is incredibly important. That would be a constitutional change that the people of California have the right to clean air, water, and a healthy environment. So that is a really important one, and that's kind of, it has to be decided on by the end of June with both houses. So that's one that's really important, but all of them are important in their own right.
All right, thank you. Can you restate your original motion?
Yes, so the
having us-
motion, so what I would ask is, if, number one, if there are any extractions, please let us know. If not, I would move that we endorse this list. It's gone through iterations through our ledge committee a number of times. Some bills had to drop off because they just didn't make it out of
and what is
appropriations.
the action request? I apologize.
Yes, the
for not
action
being clear.
request is that there are endorsed bills. We encourage our elected people to support and vote yes on our endorsed bills, and that we will write letters to the authors of the bills that do make it off the floor to the next house. We will write letters to their authors, as well as we may write letters to different committee chairs and committees as they move through the second house.
Okay.
I know it's a little bit complicated.
Could we just abbreviate that so that we could just say that the list provided by the legislative committee be endorsed, and that we urge our legislators to support these, and we will write letters of support?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm happy with that, Kathy. You're the secretary.
Okay. Lynette, your hand's up again, or still? I don't know which.
I was going to make a very succinct motion that we approve the presented list of legislation for endorsement by the Central Committee. That's the motion I'd like to present.
All right. Second.
Flynn.
Second.
Okay.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Gian McDougald.
All right. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing no new hands. Do we have a poll ready, Tom?
And I do have one comment, and I totally agree with your motion, Lynette. I just would comment that that motion just allows the legislative committee to take whatever action in support of those bills.
All right. Thank you. As soon as Tom has the poll ready.
Okay, so real quick, it was approve the presented list of legislation identified by the legislative committee for endorsement by the Solano County Democratic Central Committee.
That's what I heard.
That's correct.
I typed that like 5 times. All right. It's a poll.
It looks like Matthew might not have received the poll. Is that correct, Matthew?
It's running. Matthew?
Did not receive the poll.
You may need to, if you're on your phone, you may
Yeah.
need to click on polls at the bottom of the screen.
And if that doesn't work, please indicate I or nay in chat.
Okay, it's been a minute 23. Okay. All right. Motion passes with 28 votes, 2 abstentions.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie.
Great,
We
thank you.
appreciate your hard work. Moving on to the outreach committee, I have not yet heard back from all of my prospective co-chairs on that. We have included the outreach committee among the committees to be for people to sign up on. So I'm going to encourage everyone who's interested in that to check that box as well as the other standing committees. And just make a pitch. We'd like to have all of you participate on at least one committee as your time permits, so that we can constantly do bigger and better things. Moving on to business, I do want to talk about more about the executive board meeting in San Diego. This weekend, we elected the rest of the delegates to Chicago. Most of them are statewide party officials, party staff, and other prominent people. We elected 20 members of the Democratic National Committee to serve for the next 4 years. I will send that list out, but the self-identified female DNC members elected were Ada Briseño, Carolyn Fowler, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Annalisa Swan, Sandra Lowe, Rhodesia Ransom, Christine Pelosi, Deborah Cunningham Skurnick, and Harini Krishnan. The other than self-identified females, Keith Umamoto, Derek Devermont, Gary Shea, Otto Lee, Lawrence Zaxon, Andrew Lackman, David Atkins, Michael Capp, Joe Salas, and Jason Park. So a number of those people attended to speak to us at our various meetings. So now they are your representatives, or the party's representatives, to the Democratic National Committee. Where is it in here? The party adopted some changes to the bylaws, mostly to facilitate the use of other than in-person meetings when appropriate for the executive board or conventions. However, a more substantive change that we want to make you all aware of is that the elections to the assembly delegate district delegates process has been changed. There will now be one weekend of meetings that will be held rather than the specified date of before or after Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. It'll be a date selected by the chair no later than 81 days prior to the convention. And the notice of the meeting dates will be posted and publicized no later than November 15th of the previous calendar year. And the other major change is instead of having at least one physical meeting location in every assembly district, there'll be at least 2 physical locations in each region. And they will be moving towards voting through an online process as well as in person, using Election Buddy, which for those of you who have been delegates to the state convention or e-board, it's this system that they've used the last couple of elections. It's an online voting process. So we will potentially not have a physical location for the ADEM meeting in our district, our assembly district, but there will be at least two within the region. And voting will be online instead of the mail-in voting process that we used in the last cycle. And they also are in the approved some procedures and are in the process of finalizing those. They will be posted, I am sure. And we will get that information out as soon as we have it. The other item that I do want to think the party took action on a number of ballot measures that are coming up, are expected to come up this November. They are supporting most of them. They are opposing measures that would eliminate employees' ability to file lawsuits for monetary penalties for state labor law violations, opposing the limiting of the ability of voters and state and local governments to raise revenues for government services, opposing an initiative that will allow felony charges and increase sentences for certain drug and theft crimes, opposing the initiative that would restrict rights of transgender youth, and taking no position on bills related to spending by healthcare providers, funding for pandemic detection and prevention, and expanding the state healthcare program for children with certain medical conditions. I will send out the information from the executive board to everyone so that you have it. It was otherwise a fairly sedate event. There was only two general sessions, a 1 hour session Saturday morning and a 2 hour session that actually lasted only about an hour Sunday morning. Very brief, very businesslike, not the usual parade of speakers. But we were there, we got business done, and we moved on. Other attendees at the meeting, if you'd like to share your thoughts. Lynette, I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Chair. The one thing, well, not the one thing, a couple of things. I think this executive board ran, I wish they all ran like this because I felt like business got handled in a very efficient way this time. So that was nice. But just to bring to attention, the ballot measures would have usually gone to the legislative committee, but legislation and resolutions ballot measures kind of fell in the middle of both of them. And so resolutions now is the committee. If you're supporting a ballot measure or you want to speak to a ballot measure, that's the committee to go to as opposed to legislation. And even if you're filing online for stuff to have it go to a committee, any ballot measures in the future would go to resolutions committee. So that was one of the big changes too. And then I was really happy about the change for the ADEM elections as a former regional director, finding places that were free and having them meet everybody's wish and hope was so difficult because Region 3 is from Napa, parts of Sonoma, Lake County, parts of Colusa, Yolo, Solano, Contra Costa, and a little bit of Alameda. And so it made it very difficult to house those. So good luck, Jeff, as he figures that out for us. But I would just encourage people early on to get their ballots so that they don't have to do that. And we really need to work with our clubs to encourage them to get people to vote so that we can maintain our Solano County presence on the AGM elections. And then if you really want to get involved in stuff, there's times when county committee officers, our executive people need proxies. And there are several other ways that you can become a proxy. So I just encourage you to do that. But other than that, I thought it was a really efficient meeting that we've had this time. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other attendees have any comments? Not seeing any hands. I will just add that I did have the opportunity to speak on to some people regarding the procedures for holding the ADEM elections and asked them to make the process of voting a little easier for people to get all the necessary information together to actually cast their ballot. Because some of you may remember last time you had to have a individual ID number, and then you had to fill out a Scantron, and then you needed to have the list of candidates.
Ridiculous.
And they didn't provide you the list of candidates. It was a whole big thing for people. So they're going to make some improvements, but maybe not as many as we would like to make it easy for people. But I did ask them to make the rules as clear as possible for those who are not as tech savvy as the millennials and Gen Zs who run the process for the state party. Bonnie, your hands up.
Yeah, I did have a question about, I know that there will be a referendum on an oil and gas referendum to try to repeal SB 1137 that was signed into law in 2022 by Governor Newsom, which puts forth 3,200 foot health safety setback.
The party is supporting the law.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if I was not clear, where I did not list the position, the party is taking a support position.
Yeah, it's confusing the way, I mean, actually, it's straightforward the way they're having it done. But yeah, thank you very much.
That includes a number of constitutional amendments and ballot measures that are on the ballot. So again, I will send out that list, and hopefully the party will also follow up once we have ballot proposition numbers to attach to each of those. Okay. Next up is the Pride Proclamation. So Tom, if you want to display that.
So the version that was sent out with the Stonewall Democratic logo, because this has not been accepted, but I'm showing it now with the logo of the Central Committee. So for those wondering, that's why it's slightly different. All the wording's the same, but you have the proclamation in your email. If you want to read it, have at it. Do you want me to read it? Please say no.
No.
Any discussion? Any questions?
No, I just move that I move that we support the proclamation, or is that the appropriate language?
This is Mike Silva, second.
Okay. We have a poll. Shall I launch it, Chair?
If you would please do so.
Who was the second there?
Mike Silva. Or Michael Silva. Chair, there's a hand up.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes. Why does this only go to a Vallejo agency and not others throughout the county?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is wrong. That should be that will be corrected. That should be the Solano Democratic Central Committee. I guess that my proofreading skills are lacking. It is just it's by the Solano Democratic Central Committee. As you can
Okay.
see, we repurposed text for.
No, you know that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Can't start from scratch every year.
Yeah.
So okay, so where does this go to if it passes?
We post it online and on our webpage.
Okay, got it.
Chair, there's another hand up.
Monica.
Well, excuse me. Last night, Benicia did the Pride Proclamation. The Vallejo School District did the proclamation. So many cities and other entities do it. And this is just showing what we believe. So I just wanted to throw that out.
And the vote went well past our normal minute. It passed unanimously with 31 votes. So thank you all from the LGBTQ community in Solano County. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you bringing it forward for us. Next up is we have on the agenda the Juneteenth proclamation.
Mr.
Tom,
Chair,
yeah.
No one sent one. I didn't get one from anyone, but I did take one we had and revamped it.
Okay, because I was going to say I just sent you the one from last year with the dates changed. So either way, we can bring this up and present it and have people review it. Give people a moment to look at this online before we vote on this. This is I believe this is the same language we approved last year with the, except of course the date at the bottom will need to be fixed.
We fixed that. I'll just bring up the Word version.
Because it'll be Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. So with that correction,
We'll just share this.
I believe so, Tiffany, to answer your question. I believe this is the one you drafted a few years back, but or perhaps last year. I know it is the one it appears to be the one similar one that I had on file from last year.
Yeah, it's all I did was take the document from then and updated it.
Can you make it a little larger on the screen, or do I?
Do you want me to? How about I pull down the James Webb and then zoom in? Is that good? Jeanette?
It's better. Thanks.
Does anyone need me to read it out loud, or can you just read it on your own as we scroll? And with the obvious corrections of making sure it says 2024 were appropriate.
Should I go to the next section?
Yeah.
And you can see here it has been updated.
Is Mike Silva a motion to approve proclamation?
Second, Jack Flynn.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Who was the second again, please?
Jack Flynn?
Okay.
Seeing no hands up. Will you please launch the poll as soon as, thank you.
5 seconds to get your vote in. Vote early, vote often. And Zoom don't let you vote often, but at least you can vote early. All right. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who has brought this forward in recent years to make sure that we are appropriately acknowledging the important dates in the month of June. Next up, we have a review of candidate and ballot measure questionnaires. I believe, Tom, you sent this out to people earlier today as well.
Yep. Hold on, I will bring it up for people in the meeting, as well as our adoring public. Right. So just so everyone is aware, this is a Google form, not a it's not a PDF, it's a printout of a Google form. So whenever you choose candidate or ballot measure, when you choose ballot measure, you skip a whole bunch of questions because you don't get the candidate questions and vice versa. Okay. So I believe this will be this will change out to be the current offices that are going to be up for election. Since we don't know right now who all's running where, we don't put those in until we get that final list. Actually, what I'm saying, we'll be putting it in soon because we put it in so that we can get people to run. Sorry. Then we just collect all of their information from a candidate, and then the questions, well, why you're running all this, these are questions that we have had for, that were updated for the primary, or reviewed for the primary, and these are the ones that came through for the general election. So, and the blue bars are just where, instead of having one super long page of questions, it's multiple pages so they can go through and plug in some answer. I believe the questions, Don, perhaps you can speak to this, they are sort of covering a wide range of topics that are based on the Democratic platform.
Yeah, we are covering a wide array of issues. For those of you who have been candidates in the past and have filled this out, you're well aware of the breadth of our questionnaire. And they're touching on various aspects of the platform, and also they are touching on some of the issues that members at the time wanted us to focus on.
And one other thing I'll point out is the 34, 33, those don't show up in the actual questionnaire that people fill out. It's 19. This is the number of questions in that section. The number on the left-hand side of this number is the sort of the data entry points across the entire survey. And there's a handout.
Yeah, I saw that. I was waiting for you to finish speaking. Councilmember Williams?
I don't mind waiting until you finish.
So feel free.
For me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I've run for a supervisor seat and for a city council seat. And so looking at these questions, they come to mind that they are, they may be relevant for county, but really don't make a whole lot of sense for a city local type of seat. So is this just kind of a first purview? This is about to go live, or is there a more of a local city version that that's a little bit more relevant?
This is the only questionnaire we have. This is one that we've used for several cycles now with a few updates. Don, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I actually was looking up some language. Oops, wrong file. Hold one moment. There are, the questions are, as you noted, they are general in nature for candidates, again, touching on the major issues that come up for our our platform. And so some of them may not be particularly relevant to, for example, school board members. Others may be more relevant to cities. Others may be more relevant to counties. They are intended to get an overall feel for the candidates and where they stand on the issues of importance to the party.
Are they is part of the strategy to kind of put candidates to their paces and be exhausting, or is it really, you all have been on the other side where you're reviewing these and assessing them and reading the answers? Are you feeling like these answers, this really is what we want to know about to make a decision, or is this just part of just exhausting candidates?
Like, there are questions. I can only speak for myself and what I know other people have shared with me, is that some of these questions obviously are gauging your seriousness as a candidate. Other questions are checking where you stand on the aspects of the platform and supporting the party in general. And then there are other issues that come up that are of particular relevance in various cycles, such as the questions in the last few cycles related to the pandemic and public health, and civil and uncivil discourse in the political space, as well as questions related to environmental issues and labor issues and other issues. That said, we could certainly, if the body wishes to further disaggregate these questions for the different offices, we could discuss that. I would just caution that if we go too far down that road, we are perhaps losing our sense of the overall tenor and flavor of a candidate, because in some cases it helps us also know where they might stand if they run for other office. Glenn, as your hand I saw first.
Yes, thank you, Don. I think my question would kind of build upon Kate Patrice's, but I guess it was just a simple question of if we wanted to make any kind of edits or expansions on questions, what would be the time frame for us to realistically do that, and what channel would we do that? Would that fall under one of our standing committees or worked out in this body as a whole?
What has been done in the past is that if we wish to review the questionnaire and make adjustments, we have referred it to an endorsement committee set up specifically for that purpose, to make those adjustments. Our goal is to have this available for posting prior to the close of the filing period. So we would certainly want final approval no later than July. In the perfect world, if we were to make adjustments and vote on approval, I would like to bring it back next month to debate and finalize the questions and approve, simply so that we have it out there for our candidates to see as they are filing and making that decision.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, Carrie, you're next in line.
Thank you, Chair. I would say as a candidate for a city office. I did not find this questionnaire exhaustive. I found it a way to show my how my principles and the way I think align with the Democratic Party. And, you know, while the city of Benicia's elections are nonpartisan, this body is not. And I found it very helpful to share my thinking along along with the Democratic Party principles. And, there's a saying that says, if you serve in city government, there's only one way to pick up the garbage, right? Well, yes, we can do that, but we can also align with the Democratic principles. And so I find, and I reread this before the meeting today, and I find that these questions often illuminate and illustrate a candidate's knowledge of the larger issues that democracy faces, which we would hope that any local government official would be able to answer those questions. And so while there may be some tweaks here and there, I think, what I'm reading and what I have filled out in the past is very important for this body to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. I would, while I hesitate to argue with one of my council members, I would say that there is a difference between having a union city employee or otherwise union member pick up the trash and contracting out to a non-union firm that hires people for minimum wage and no benefits. So I do think there are differences in how one picks up the trash. Kathy, your hand's up next.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I do think that we could do a different questionnaire for school board members, city council members, supervisors. It could be tweaked a little bit, but overall, it's very comprehensive, and I have distributed this among our club members before we've done endorsements. So it's been helpful in the past, but I do agree with that it could be, I think, tweaked a little bit to make it specific to, there may be some couple of additional questions to ask for school board members, maybe change some of the language, if it's a city council person from county to city. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, Bonnie?
Yeah, I just wanted to say when I ran back in 2020, I felt like it helped me kind of codify my own position. So I found it helpful in that, right? Because you have to really think about what the questions are. The other thing is I think it helps to ferret out who is really, I would say, more democratic leaning on the issues rather than, I mean, if you stick with maybe specific questions to the role, then you might miss kind of someone who really doesn't carry democratic values. So that's one thing. The other thing I would suggest is if Kay Patrice and Kathy and other people want to tweak it, I mean, I think that you've expressed concern about it. So I would say if you've got the capacity and the energy to take a look at it and take a stab at it, I'd say go for it and then present it. But I think that but I think the people who have the concerns should be the people who take it on. Thanks.
Well, I would like for us to have a broad spectrum committee if we're going to do so. Look at it. My own thoughts is if we are to revise it to be more to allow for different levels, that the majority of the questions remain the same because they are sort of, as many people said, kind of focusing on the fidelity to the Democratic Party and its platform, but perhaps we could adjust a few of the questions to be more specific to the types of offices. Monica, your hand's up.
My my thought is, sorry, isn't that what the clubs can do? Can't they take whatever they want and make it specific? Whereas we are the whole county. And I would like to know that somebody who might be running in Rio Vista is somebody that has the same values that I have. So when we get together on different committees, I don't have to worry about XYZ. So I found for me running clubs are specific. Central committee is overall looking, and it doesn't hurt. And anyway, so that's just my 3 cents. Inflation.
Yeah, I would think that while we want the same questions being asked of a Dixon council candidate as we would for someone running for city council in Benicia, to have that parity, there perhaps is a valuable exercise in asking for the different questions that are more suited to the distinctions between council, school board, board of supervisors, what have you. Jerry, your hand, you haven't spoken yet, so I'm going to call on you next.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to add that I think at the end of the day, when we fill this out, I mean, anything can use tweaking, whatever we may have in front of us, but the questions are, some of them may not respond to someone from a small town like Dixon, for example, but I think we just fill it out to the best of our ability. And what we're trying to do at the end of the day with that document is convince the committee to let them know that, you know, their values are all there for the Democratic Party. I think that's basically what we want to do. Tweaking it is fine. I think it's okay to do that, but there are some questions that may not apply to, say, a council member, like you guys mentioned earlier, council member, board member, school board member, whatever it may be. But I think the questions are okay. It just comes down to convincing the committee on why you're the best candidate, and or you can add more of some of the questions that may not be there that you want them to know about you. And I think that we're okay with it, but tweaking it is fine. Nothing's wrong with doing that. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just to address the question in chat, Glenn, not for a number of cycles. If we had specific ones that differ between school board and city council, it's not been for several cycles, to the best of my knowledge. Before I call on Kathy or Carrie, does anyone who has not spoken yet on this issue wish to speak? I'm not seeing any hands, so I'm going to call on the two of these, and then I will entertain a motion. Kathy.
I was going to say that we also have used the the Progressive Dems also used the Northern Solano Democratic Club's questions, and we then added 2 or 3 to them when we had candidate debates. But I also want to remind everybody that when we do the endorsements, we do have an opportunity to ask questions. So we can be very specific with those.
Right, thank you. Carrie.
I would like to ask Williams how the questionnaire is inequitable in its current state, as referred to in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear you. You broke up right in your key point, I think.
I would like to ask Ms. Williams, since she's not my city council person, to describe how the questionnaire in its current state is inequitable, as she states in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you. And by the way, I can be asked anything. You know, I don't understand the premise that I'm a councilwoman, can't be asked things. Completely open. So anytime that, and I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. So we want to give people an equal way to receive this questionnaire at the same time in enough time to fill it out and give it out. And when you're sending candidates these questionnaires at different times, and I remember last cycle, a candidate received this, days before it was due. That's an equity issue. When you're doing questionnaires where it can be perceived different ways. So you're saying, I'm reading a question that's irrelevant to supervisor or irrelevant to trustee. And now in this conversation, it sounds like, oh, I can just put NA if it doesn't, if it's not relevant. But then 35, 40 people are reading it and making a assumption based on that NA. What does that mean? They don't understand the question. So not everybody understands. I sit in the seat. So I thought it was irrelevant. Now I know it is because I do the job. So in my view, that is an equity issue and we need to have that lens on. So thank you for asking.
All right, thank you for sharing. At this point, I'm going to entertain a motion to refer this to a committee to be formed. Or in the alternative, a motion to approve the questionnaire as it stands.
I'll motion for its approval. I'm sorry. I'll motion for its referral. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Who was that?
Glenn?
It was Glenn Lovell, SDWA.
And I second that motion. Okay, Patrice.
And a second by Councilmember Williams. Any further discussion on the motion?
So the motion is for it to be referred to a committee.
Yeah, Bonnie, your hand's up.
Yeah, just the same statement. I just want to reiterate that we just need to make sure we have people that are going to sit and do the work on that committee. And then if there are changes made, I'd like to see the changes next to the original language so that is very clear. Thank you.
Excuse me, who seconded that, please?
It was K. Patrice Williams who seconded.
Sorry, I'm typing, so I can't see the screen.
Right. If you are ready to run that poll.
So just real quick, so this is referring to a committee yet to be named, correct?
Correct. Referring to committee for review.
That's to be filled out.
All right.
Who is going to, well, if this is voted on, then somebody needs to step up to be the organizer for that.
Don, usually the chair, if you read our bylaws, that's where that hand is.
Okay.
One other quick comment. I don't want Kay Patrice's statement to go unheard about the timing of when these questionnaires go out, because I heard that as an inequity in her mind, that we need to make sure that is everything goes out to everyone at the same time.
So we can make the questionnaires available at any time once they have been approved by the committee. The going out part of it is dictated by the filing period close. And if you read our bylaws, it covers that. I'm sorry, I'm speaking for you, Don, when that was through the chair.
We'll certainly, as part of our discussion related to the Rules Committee and requests, we can discuss timing specifically. like as Tom said, historically, under our bylaws, the questionnaires are not supposed to go out until after the close of the filing period. We endeavor to do so once the filing period closes for the office to send them out. In some cases, we have either a delay on our end in obtaining appropriate email addresses, or as happened in a recent cycle, the email went to the candidate's spam and they did not think to check their spam until the night before the endorsement meeting. And at a certain level, we cannot control whether it goes to a candidate's spam folder as opposed to their live folder. So, but we can certainly discuss improving our timing process. Kathy, your hand is up.
I was just going to follow up on what you said. I do think we really need to follow up and make sure that people have gotten this, because that
Is there a germ? I apologize, Jeanette. Do you have a comment or question?
Well, I just wanted to weigh in on this too, is when we were talking about timing, because I do feel like, it's very lengthy, but it is helpful to have it filled out. And you can't do it until after the filing period closes, like we said. But then the issue is when we have to have our endorsement meeting and then people can't have a chance to read them all. But I think it is helpful. So Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, when they're completed, are those generally available to members as soon as they're completed or not?
So they can be made available, but I don't compile the booklet that everyone gets.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because that's very helpful, the booklet that you do. But
okay, thank you for that question response. We are getting rather off the topic of whether or not to refer this to a committee. Are we ready to launch the poll, Tom?
Yes. 10 seconds left. Okay. Motion passes with 21 votes to move it to an endorsement committee.
All right. I'm going to ask our Southern Vice Chair, Barry Burzai, will you accept the chair of this committee to review?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm going to, let's see, looking through. Do we have a volunteer from the first district to serve on the committee?
I'll volunteer, Don.
Okay, Tom Bilbo. Third district, do we have a volunteer or resident in the third district?
If I'm third district, I want to be on this committee.
I
Am I?
believe you live in the first.
I live in the first. Okay.
No, he lives in the second.
Okay, well, I'm going to add that I like to get at least one person from each district.
Okay.
Seeing no other hands, I will put my name in. District 4, do we have a volunteer from District 4?
I'll volunteer myself as tribute.
Okay.
Trevor.
Oh, that's an image I didn't need. Thank you, Trevor. District 5, do we have a volunteer?
I could step forward for that if that works by the body.
Yeah, you live in District 5 now?
I do.
Okay.
Vacaville.
All right, I appreciate that. Kathy, your hand's up.
I would volunteer to be on it also.
Okay, Kathy, like to add, since he volunteered, add Miguel.
Yes, please.
Okay, Patrice, are you willing to serve?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. And then I'd like to have another member, ideally from either Vacaville or Rio Vista. Can I get a volunteer?
I can meet with that.
Okay. Annette, and
5.
then Bridget has volunteered in chat. So hopefully, did you capture all those names?
No.
Okay.
I have Tom. I know I'm missing someone. Trevor, me, Miguel, Kay Patrice, Jeanette, Bridget, and I know I'm missing somebody.
We have Terry as chair. We have Jeanette, Glenn, Trevor,
Okay.
Rachette, myself, Kay Patrice, you. I think we've got everybody.
Miguel.
Yeah. All right. So
I have Tom, Trevor, me, Miguel, Kay Patrice, Jeanette, Bridget, Glenn, and Don.
have I missed anybody's name? Tom is on the list as well.
Yeah.
Harry Birdseye was chairing it, you said.
Right. I thought
I'm sorry.
I thought we announced her name a number of times now. Perhaps we're just not being clear, or so I apologize. I will ask you just to follow up and schedule with the committee at your convenience. But I'd like to have we get a report back for the next meeting, if possible.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Next item, planning meeting. We have at the board, we talked about having a meeting to plan for the next 2 years, broadly speaking, and more specifically for our November election, which will include discussions of budget, campaign strategy, activities, and such. And our tentative plan is to hold the meeting on June 29th at the Solano County Government Center. This would be an in-person meeting only, because quite candidly, every time we've tried a hybrid meeting, it's been less than satisfactory for one side or the other. So the opportunity for us to meet in person and discuss our planning at length is desirable. So I'd like to get the members' feedback. On this. Tiffany.
What was the time frame? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
That was my next question, whether people prefer morning or afternoon. And hearing no comments about the prospect in general, I guess we will ask morning or afternoon. Paula, your hand's up.
I think it's a great idea, and I'm pretty agreeable morning or afternoon, but I don't think it should be a whole day thing, one or the other.
If it's morning, can we get donuts? And coffee.
We can certainly make the effort. Kathy.
I think something, if you had a pretty defined time limit, like morning 10 to 12 or something like that, and that would be good, and Coffee and donuts sound good to me.
Not too early in the morning.
Yeah, like 10 o'clock is good for me.
Okay,
Coffee is for.
here I was gonna go for a 6 a.m. start, but
I'm old. I don't do 6 a.m. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
I don't do 6 a.m.
Then can I resign right now?
All right. Is everyone amenable to a 10 a.m. start?
Yes.
Okay.
Is 2 hours really enough?
I suspect we will probably go closer to 3, to be honest. But the e-board will finalize the agenda and post that out. But we will aim for a 10 a.m. start and confirm the meeting location. And
Chair, did
I'd
you
like
say?
everyone, especially our newer members, to bring forward your thoughts on what you would like us to be doing, as well as plans to both fund it and staff it, because the greatest ideas in the world don't happen if we don't have the resources in either money or manpower to make it happen. Hey, Patrice.
Yes, Chair. Did you say what day?
Sorry, as we said in the agenda, June 29th. It is the 5th Saturday, and hopefully by choosing the 5th Saturday, we're avoiding any standing conflicts. Okay. All right. Unless there's any other questions, we will move forward. Thank you all. We'll get that set up. And then the last item I had was, it was suggested with us having a presidential debate on June 27th that we consider having a debate party to watch it in person and perhaps charge a modest fee to help boost our coffers. The location suggested to me was the Cordelia Denny's, but if people have another suggestion that is free or low, very low cost, I'd entertain it. But I like the idea of us gathering to cheer on our president as a group. So, Patrice, is your hand still up or up again?
Sorry.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, did you say Denny's?
That was a suggestion because apparently it has a separate room and that has a TV to watch it. But I'm more than open to any suggestions that people can come up with. Paula.
I think it's a great idea, Don. I remember years ago, I think it was in 2012, we got the Empress Theater and watched the Obama presidential debate there. But it's definitely not free. And Denny's food isn't so horrible.
Does Denny serve drinks?
I don't know if it does or not.
So.
They serve all the iced tea you can drink.
She may have been asking for something
Bring your own
a
booze.
little more powerful.
Paula, I've got a flask I'll lend you.
Okay.
Iced tea is that house wine?
Is there either a willingness to go with that location or someone volunteering to help us find another location?
Well, the other location that I sort of think about, sorry for not raising my hand, is the lounge next to the Empress Theater. But I have no idea if they've got a TV there or if they charge. So
Well, that would be rather critical because I think we would
Yes.
get into the Denny's for the cost of us buying our
yeah.
Monica.
And part of doing Denny's is that it isn't expensive. Remember the goal is for us to be united and boo at the guy with the T name. So I just thought it would be fun. So anyway.
Miguel?
Yeah, there's probably a charge because I've hosted Latino meetings at, for example, at Buttercup in Vallejo, and they charge $200 for the room. So I'm suspect they might have a charge for it. Just my guess. I don't know. I have to look into it.
If I may, I've used it before and I never had to pay a charge at the one in Cordelia.
Great.
And I'm
Good.
happy if everybody wants to give like $10 to the coffers, I
Okay.
will pay for the appetizers that we can get there. And I think they do wine, but I'll let you know. So just if we're game, hey, there we go. So
All right. Um, is there a motion or a consensus?
Okay, I will move that we meet at Denny's at 6 o'clock on June 27th for a debate watch party.
I'll second Jack.
Okay, cool.
add that it's the Cordelia one.
Correct, Cordelia, Denny's.
All right. Can we have an appropriate poll for that created? Is there any discussion while the poll's being prepared?
Yeah, give me just a minute and I'll have it.
Who's
Don, do you know if we need to reserve this in advance?
I believe we do,
That's what
just
I
to
will
make
do
sure we have
tomorrow.
that room.
Paula, I'll do that tomorrow.
Awesome. I'm assuming we're going to win the vote.
All right. As soon as it's ready, Tom.
Yeah, real quick, how do you spell Cordelia? Is it I or E after the D?
Cordelia. Just like Cordelia Chase, for those of you who are Buffy fans.
You know, never did get into that sci-fi. Chris loves it. Me, not so much.
Well, I always knew I liked him best.
Rude. Where's my debate one? I just get it. There you go.
June 27th is the date, so correcting that verbally.
Yeah, it's all right. I was looking at the wrong line. Just call me Miss Skates. That's my drag name. Okay, only 20 seconds left to vote. Remember, just because you vote yay doesn't mean you have to show. Just means that you want to have something. And will it be open to the public too?
I would imagine we would be willing to take anyone who is willing to pay the gate fee, and you can serve as bouncer if they happen to be wearing a red hat.
I'll bring Chris for that.
We're going to go with the poll as is and correct it verbally to answer the question. The correct date is June 27th for the debate watch party.
Okay, so do I change my vote in the chat?
If you wish to, yeah.
Sorry about that. I was too concentrated on getting Cordelia spelled right. Okay. So it passes with one additional yes, so it's 24 yeses.
Okay, and I believe that it was either a no or an abstention that was being corrected. So,
yeah.
All right. That's all the business items I had, ladies and gentlemen. Does anyone have an announcement that they're burning to make? Not seeing any hands going up.
I got
Oh, Tom.
Yeah, sorry. So there is a whole bunch of events going on in Vallejo and Benicia and also Sassoon for Pride Month. So please take notice on social media. A couple of key events to note is June 2nd is a Pride event in Sassoon City. The other one is there's also a Pride event that same day in Benicia at the Relic. June 8th is a Pride, I'm sorry, June 1st is the first Pride flag raising in the county during Pride Month at the Vallejo Naval and Historic Museum. Also, there is the opening of a transgender exhibit called Doris the Fish, and it's art through fashion or something along those lines. And that is June 1st at the Vallejo Naval and Historic Museum. June 8th, we're having a Pride Night at the museum that night. And then June 9th is a Solano County Pride picnic that we're the organizations in Vallejo and Benicia are hosting on Mare Island at Alden Park. It is a potluck, so please come on down. And yes, I will send out the flyers that has everything on it because there are over 16 different events going on.
All right.
So given
Awesome.
two have already occurred because it was the Benicia proclamation and the Vallejo Unified School District proclamation today, but there's more coming.
Awesome. Kathy, you're next.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell people, if you want to send me an announcement that I can sort of pre-fill the agenda with, and if you want to send me a link on how to sign up for that, I thought I could then just send out the announcement part sort of right after the meeting. So feel free to do that, and I'll try to have all the announcements in one place with links, to register or whatever. Thanks.
I will echo that. You get your announcement information in if you want it shared with the members. And I will also flip that and encourage those of you who are club representatives to take the announcements that you hear here or receive in your email and share it with your club members so that we're each encouraging cross-pollination among the clubs. Jack, I see your hand next.
Thank you, Don. I just wanted to let everyone know that we do have an update from I'm a little late with this, but from our school board in Fairfield Sassoon, we did hire a new superintendent, Jennifer Sachs, who previously served in Mount Diablo Unified. So we'd like to congratulate her. And then the second thing is that we will be, to piggyback off of what Tom said, we will be voting on our own proclamation for Pride Month. We unfortunately in FSUSD do not have a pride flag, but I just wanted to let everyone know I am going to be trying to work with Board President Smith and also our new superintendent about trying to change that for next year. So while I'm only 1 out of 7, I'm going to fight as hard as I can for that. So I just want to let everyone know. Thank you.
Do you need a flag?
I think I have to talk to them. I would love to take a flag off your hand for us, but let me talk to them. But I am 100% in support. I'm just trying to I just need to get them in support. So
we can always come up and present you with a flag.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Tom.
All right, thank you, everyone. I do appreciate your patience, willingness to stick this out for a long meeting with a lot of items on the agenda. We appreciate it. I want to remind everyone, something that was pointed out a number of cycles ago, we are all volunteers doing this on our free time. And I choose to believe we are all coming at this with the best of intentions to help improve the Democratic Party. So to quote the 12th Doctor, when you have a choice, be kind to one another. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Marzullo, second.
All right. Motion second. Please vote yes. No votes will not be accepted.
Who seconded that?
Mike Silva.
Well, looks like everyone's almost voted.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna call it because I'm tired. I want to get out of this chair.
Buenas noches, everybody.
Yay, we're adjourned. Bye.
Ah.
I just wish Denny's would still serve grits.
I love grits.
Oh, I knew you were good people.
From my brief time living in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. Shrimp and grits.
Oh, I love shrimp and grits. You know
Sorry.
who's really good shrimp and grits? The place on Mare Island, the distillery.
Oh, yeah. I don't have to mortgage my house.
Good night, everyone.
Their fried chicken is really good and their biscuits are too. I was like, oh,
Their biscuits are really good.